made it to the first round of playoffs. Boys basketball made it to the state tournament. Wrestling, we had eight state qualifiers, I believe. Chantel got first, and Losha got second, and then Cheer got sixth place in the state. And for spring sports, our season spring sports are softball, baseball, track and field, golf, tennis, OSET, and boys volleyball. But a lot of spring sports are good.
Isn't flag football?
Oh, and flag football. Forgot that. And then, we had our February pep assembly last month. We did a seniors versus staff basketball game. And then like a brain rot or slang game for staff, like terms of students, and they had water in their mouth. They were trying not to spit it out. It was pretty fun.
Yeah, so we did the brain rot game, which was special. And then we had a basketball game, but instead of just doing regular basketball, we decided to put the two best players on each team in a shark costume to make it more entertaining. That person in the shark costume, if they made a basket, their points would double. So it came down pretty much to the wire. The staff was doing stuff.
I think he stabbed
Staff one. We won't hear the end of that for a little bit, but yeah, so it was fun and it was a good way to come back after break.
What staff was in the shark costume?
In that photo, it's Warner, but I believe it's T. Holly and I got 1 point. And then we had Ricardo in it for yeah.
And then we have a dance next Friday. It's Western themed hoedown. And we're having some line dancing after dance, so it should be fun. Excited for that. Oh, and we also have an assembly to prepare for the dance on
Thursday next week, if you guys want to come stop by, it'll be 10 to 10:30. Of course, it's Western themed, so we're gonna have each advisory nominate a student. And we're gonna do horse races. They'll be on like a stick horse, and they'll be racing. And so you can come by and watch that if you want to see some horse races. But yeah, that's the plan for Thursday. Still in the planning process right now, but that's the main idea of it. So.
And then Sources of Strength had a training this last week, focusing on promoting well-being of students at CHS. You were talking more about that?
Yeah, that I attended the training. It was a lot of fun, a lot of good information. They're really trying to implement it like throughout, like how we can get word out to the kids. Because they are saying that they still feel like not all the kids in Creswell High School know exactly what source of strength is, which is true. I didn't even fully know what source of strength was. So we're really trying to work in partnership even with the middle school and having the two kind of overlap, because apparently middle school does have a source of strength group starting. So we're really trying to do overlap there and just kind of build it so it steps up and it keeps going. But right now we're working on social media outreach, assembly outreach, announcements, going to the advisories, and coming up with activities for kids to be engaged and be able to learn about the different, lines and kind of what it looks like if you're kind of struggling, and all the different tips and tricks for mental health in general. So it was really cool. It was a lot of fun, and the pizza was
And then we had Hostess State over the past month. Joanna Spriggs got third in dental terminology, and Molly Silvernickel got top 5 in healthy living. Miss Strand Valley took the students to dinner for one of the students' birthdays, so I heard they had a good time. Looks fun. And then we had a music showcase on the 15th of February. It's called The Night Under the Stars. I tried to put some videos in there, but they were all too long. They wouldn't go on my slideshow. So if anyone wants them, I can share them with you, but I couldn't fit them on there. And then lastly, we have the Knife River welding field trip. I couldn't get a whole lot of information about this, but I have a few pictures. And that's about all I have. I know that Knife River is a contractor. And I know that some students went and visited that. But that's about all. And then I think lastly, we just had the captain's conference, which I'll have more information. have more information about that next one. That's all, thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
Elise, is there anything that we can do to help with the sources of strength? I'm super interested in that effort. Is there anything the board can do or individuals?
Yeah, so in our planning phase, for outreach, I can talk about coming to you guys a little bit later on. We meet every Thursday at the high school during our winter period. But we're talking about coming to you guys and trying to figure out how we can bring you guys into it. Again, it's still kind of rough because we're still just starting to meet and kind of come up with brainstorm ideas. But I will totally let you know, I'll just shoot you an email after our next meeting, but we still kind of got to talk a little bit about, how we want to implement it.
Sure.
But we definitely want to get you guys involved in it. That was one of the main points that all the kids in the group made, was like, we have to get the board involved with sources of strength. So I'll have one for you soon.
Okay, looking forward to that. Thank you.
Okay, moving along, we have our special presentation. We wanted to acknowledge Chantel, our state winner wrestler. We will have a certificate for you. We do not have our certificate with us today, but
With flowers.
we have flowers. We have flowers for you, but we will have a certificate coming your way from the board acknowledging that you were a big winner.
Yeah, good job.
So 1:30 when they got back from the bus. Well, I laid in bed and watched her match, which was amazing.
So did we said it,
Yeah.
we watched it,
Oh,
Carl and I were
so
watching
good.
it.
Coach, you wanna talk about her journey?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. I met Chantel when she was a freshman. And if you've read the newspaper, they did a pretty good job of describing it. I was helping, I was not the head coach, I was assistant coach, and I was helping. And I saw this girl come in every once in a while, and she was kind of like very raw, but kind of good. And I asked her after practice, I'm like, hey, what's your story? Where you been? And she gave me a lot of excuses. And so in my, I would say, very abrupt manner, I said, so what you're telling me is you're a freshman flake. And she was not doing well academically. She was not doing well socially, and she was not attending practice very often. And the next fall, she was a sophomore. Some things happened. I was now the head coach, and the people in the office said, Cardwell, you can't believe it. Chantel's getting straight A's. And my thinking was, yeah, whatever. And she was, and that was kind of the beginning of her journey. And I will say, this year, and I'm really proud of this. I'm really proud of her winning state, but I think I'm more proud of maybe the person that she's developed into. She has not missed a day of school this year. She's a senior, which I think for seniors, that's probably pretty rare. In August, in talking to Brandon Stanridge, they didn't have a cross-country coach, and so I'm kind of a hack of a runner, so I volunteered to do that. And I got a hold of Chantel and I said, hey, what are you doing? Oh, nothing, I'm camping with my family. I'm like, well, guess what? I think you should come out for cross country. And she did. And she got pretty good at it. But the cool thing about it is that she never missed a cross country practice. And she never missed a wrestling practice. So if you think of mid-August to basically March 1st, she never missed a day of school and never missed an after-school practice or event. And to me, that just shows an incredible amount of growth. And then one other short story, I worked at the middle school. Her sister Serenity's there, so has all her little friends, and all little friends were telling Mr. Cardwell, I thought you would have died at Chantel's match, and I think you cried and all this. But the coolest thing that almost every one of them said is they said, you know what? I met Chantel. None of them said anything about her wrestling. They all said, you know what? Chantel's really nice. And I thought, wow, that is a testimony to who she is, that we could be proud of a girl that as a freshman, was a freshman flake, for sure, was making poor decisions socially, poor decisions academically, nutritionally, all that, and now has grown into a girl that I think, and I'm probably a little bit biased, that is arguably, regardless of classification, one of the best wrestlers in the state. And it, to boot, is an incredible young woman, so I'm very proud of Chantel Knopfinger, so.
So she has seen you every school day since August? Is that what I'm hearing, from cross country to wrestling?
Well, she started calling me a flake. I had a wedding in Idaho, so, and
Good job.
I've got that
Chantel.
covered with Stanridge, and she did call me a flake when I got back. from
And
that,
then he
so,
called in sick to a wrestling meet.
Yeah, I called him a flake for that.
Right.
And I did miss my first wrestling meet in 35 years because I was sick, so I got called a flake then, so.
Well, I will say that I'm at Chantel Reviews 5, and the Wilkersons would like a little credit into coaching, because we're sitting there watching girls like, she was my part. When you were in middle school, so they were all like watching you, so we're very proud of you.
Thank you. I think the thing that I was most, when they got back on the bus at 1:30 or whatever time it was. I high-fived a bunch of them as they got off, and I hugged Chantel and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so proud of you. And she's like, yeah, she goes, look what they gave me. And I thought, what do you think she's gonna show you? Her gold medal? No. Her
Flip going.
her flip
That's
coin.
big.
She's like, look what they gave us. And it was pretty cool, but it was awesome to watch. You were fun.
Well, congratulations, and thanks for coming, and we will get yours.
Thank you.
And way to
We're-
go on attendance and academics.
Yeah.
Nothing comes to
Yeah.
part.
What are you gonna do when you graduate?
I want to try to go, I want to continue wrestling for a couple more years and I want to get my welding certification.
Where are you looking at wrestling at?
SWAC, Southwestern, Community College.
Okay, cool. It doesn't sound like anything's gonna stop you, so you're on your way.
They have a pretty large girls program too.
Yeah, yeah, they have.
They're the biggest in the state, isn't it?
What's that?
Isn't it the largest one in the state?
I would think they probably have the biggest roster, them and Southern Oregon. Yeah.
Cool.
Okay. Well, thank you for joining us tonight, we appreciate it, and you are not at all required to stay for the rest of our meeting. If you'd like to leave. I mean, I know.
We looked at the agenda, we kind of want to stay.
Yeah, I bet you did. Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Thanks, Jared.
Thank you, Mr. Cardwell.
And this would be the part where we would have our public comment if we had any with students. Alright, so, oh wait, no, I forgot you, I skipped right over Mike. Mike has superintendent before that.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, you're
That's
elected.
me.
Yeah, I know, you can.
Sure. So I provided you with a report of my activities for the month. My highlights are the CTE I presented the rendering for the CTE building to the CTE design committee. So we're that one step closer to actually getting into the heat of it, of the development of the design. And then also, being able to see the kids' baseball and softball practices out on the turf fields at times. I mean, it's a tight schedule, it was a real tight schedule, but gosh, once they got on the field, it felt like immediate relief. It happened, so. Those are my highlights. And then as far as the bond, projects updates go, you can see where those are highlighted in green. I've moved some of the items that were in progress now to completed. They're in black, all the completed ones are in black. But yeah, so we're finishing up with those. Well, we're never really finished, but we'll be done with the bulk of the projects out there with the fields. And then going right into the CTE building, and then following that will be right into the academic building. Any questions or on any of that, any of the projects? Okay.
So I have to just close my door now. But I know the next thing is the superintendent evaluation, and that's how I closed it, because I have to make a statement that did not get added to the board book, and I apologize, I sent it to Marilyn from my personal email, and I think we got it all.
That's okay.
Yeah, but we'll get it out to you.
Yeah.
And to you, Mike. So it's a surprise.
Oh, yeah.
Woo! I forgot it's your first time. I wouldn't know. All right, evaluation statement for Mike Johnson, school year 2024-25. The Creswell School Board Directors have completed the annual evaluation of Superintendent Mike Johnson. Superintendent Johnson has been employed as the superintendent since July 1st, 2019. This evaluation is for the academic school year of 24-25. The evaluation process included 3 data sources. Superintendent Johnson's self-evaluation presented to the board during a March executive session. Feedback from his direct reports on the superintendent's goals and the board's direct observations and experiences with Superintendent Johnson. The board of directors speaks as a unified voice and provides one evaluation to the superintendent. This year's evaluation is centered around 4 specific goals for the superintendent and 7 national standards of performance. The Creswell School District Board acknowledges that Superintendent Johnson has consistently demonstrated highly effective leadership and has been an integral asset to the district. His leadership has been both visionary and deeply focused on the well-being of students. His unwavering commitment to prioritizing what's best for kids is evident in all aspects of his work within the district. Superintendent Johnson has worked diligently to oversee the ongoing bond project. Through his careful management, not only has he ensured the prudent use of taxpayer funds, but he has also successfully saved the district millions of dollars. The board also commends the superintendent for his implementation of comprehensive professional development across the district. The initiative is highly valued and the board is encouraged by the alignment of district-wide standards. The district leadership team has engaged in several significant professional development programs, including the research for better teaching training and for administrators, the evaluation and accountability workshop, the READ technique of interviewing and interrogation for school administrators, as well as training for administrators and staff in the I Love You Guys standard response protocols for emergency procedures, effectively implemented throughout the district. The school board recognizes that Superintendent Johnson's efforts have been pivotal in ensuring that the Creswell School District consistently strives to provide the best possible educational experiences for students. Mike, we extend our sincere gratitude for your continued dedication to the district and your ongoing leadership in working towards what's best for the children and families in our community. Thank you.
I have a short, oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I just don't. I'm glad I don't have to read that next year.
I was just gonna make a motion to approve the evaluation.
Thank you.
So,
Okay. Do you want to say something? And then, okay, and then we have a second for my second. Okay, all in favor? Okay, all right. Well, I guess.
Just in case this was the way things went, I had a statement written. I'd like to thank the board for a thorough evaluation process of my goals and professional performance this past year. It's both an honor and a privilege for me to serve the Creswell community and to be a member of this district staff. At Creswell, we have the winning combination needed to provide the best learning environment for our kids. A collaborative partnership at the senior leadership level of the district with the board and superintendent, and a talented and hardworking district leadership team that works alongside our hardworking staff to elevate this district towards the North Star. All of this to focus on kids. So thank you.
Thank you.
your hard
Appreciate
work.
you. Great. New business.
Budget development assumptions. So you see in your agenda that you have a report of the budget assumptions. But the highlights, I just wanted to kind of point out to you, and then we can go through it and I answer any questions, or Chanel can help me with that if needed. But a few highlights for you. The 11.3 billion in this assumption document is the proposed budget by the governor, but it won't be approved until later this spring. The 11.3 billion can go up or down, depending on what the legislature approves. That's a fact. The district enrollment has continued to decline, and we are currently at 1,050 students. Last year, we were at 1,115. That's a difference of 24, which equates for that difference equates to $650,000 of state school funding for 25-26. So 65 kids, that's the difference in enrollment that we have from last year. In addition, we'll be bargaining with our OSEA group this spring, which may impact personnel costs. Lane ESD has informed the superintendents in Lane County that they will increase costs for special education services next year by 11 to 30%. Our plan is that we will continue to adjust staffing levels to enrollment levels by attrition. That's our plan at this point. We're planning a roll-up service and employee benefit costs. So, meaning that we'll have a full calendar year, all of the benefits of a full school year for staff in Creswell. You know, we won't have any layoff days or days missing out of the school calendar at this point. And those are my, yes, you call them highlights, but that's what I wanted to point out in this assumption. So we'll fine tune this as we get into the budgeting process, and Chanel presents the formal budget for next year. But again, that budget's going to be predicated on the governor's budget and not really what's approved at that point either.
You said the special education cap is being proposed to increase. Say that sentence again. I didn't-
Lane ESD, our Lane
Yep.
Education Service District for Lane County,
Okay.
has informed superintendents that they will increase costs for sped services to us.
From 11, okay.
Some of it is, no, not from 11, increase it by 11%, 11 to 30%.
That's what wasn't sticking. The 11% cap is like, okay, what did you just
Yeah.
say?
Because they're kind of similar but different.
Well,
different
they were the
things.
same number.
Yeah, the same number.
And, okay,
You know,
sorry, I wasn't tracking that well.
so there were some, of the services that they're providing for us that have an 11% increase, but did the total increase come to 30%?
Correct, I think that some did depend on the placement of what kind of services the student was needing, might have been fragile versus just a life skills placement, but we were looking at 11 to 30% cost increase for their tuition.
And I will tell you that the impact it had on the Lane County superintendents was just unbelievable. I mean, it was a total cold shot. We didn't see it coming at 30%. And that's to us, that's 200.
It's gonna be, we're looking at like a $500,000 increase to our all placement budget.
In some cases it does.
So, superintendent will be continuing the discussion with Lane ESD to find out how they expect that we're going to be able to meet those increases.
They give like a reason for why, like what the logic behind the increase is.
So from their perspective, they haven't increased the cost enough to keep up with the personnel costs from Lane ESD. And although we've had last year, I think 11% increase last year to us that we wrestled with through this year. And then now another 30% jump across the board when you look at it. And we got districts that are shutting schools down in Lane County because they are cutting so hard, definitely. And others have those things on the chopping block and staffing. And so, you know, how we can meet 30% is, we haven't quite figured that one out.
Do we have alternate service options besides Lane ESD, or is that like?
The other option is to have them here. But the cost of setting it up here is pretty huge, you know, millions of dollars to set up the kind of services, get the equipment and set it up here. But Amy and Chanel are kind of looking for a plan and how we can reduce the expenses.
I feel like, we met with Amy, like, I missed the board meeting, like, where I would have said that was one of the things I had done, but we had met, and I just feel like after that conversation, adding that to what we discussed in the tour and all the things you showed us, that seems like really shocking.
Yeah, we're all shocked.
I mean, I'm sure, yeah, it's pretty hard.
So, anyway, and Pace, our insurance carrier, is also increasing costs up to 25% for our insurance coverage.
Are they our only option?
They really are. They're really across Oregon, they're pretty much all of that carrier, because it's, even though it's 25% higher, it's a reduction in what it actually costs us if we haven't been. So, when there's been up to $250,000 costs for litigation, and they've covered it, and we only pay a fraction of that.
What I've seen is insurance, residential, commercial, everything is going up from the natural disasters, the cybersecurity attacks. We've seen our insurance at the work double, so that doesn't surprise me.
So in looking at all that we're facing with these increases and even with the governor's proposed budget, which could be a little high, I don't, it's not sounding like the legislature is really fond of that proposal she's made. The contingency for the district, which has typically been 7%. On the ending fund balances, we're looking at 5% to make adjustments. So, and Chanel can talk more about that, but then we're still carrying Fund 275 in our general fund. So we have that factored into the budget, but in order to make ends meet, that's what we're projecting. If the governor comes in a little higher, well, then we come out a little better. But a lot of that has to do with what's going on, or not a lot of it, some of the impact of bargaining. Help us determine what we're gonna do there.
And then the enrollment went down 65 students. Did I track that?
Yeah,
Right.
11 from 1115 to 1050.
So we have to figure out how to get more kids to want to come to Creswell.
Couple things on that one, if I may give a comment. So we have transfers in and transfers out. And the idea is to break even or better on that one. And we haven't been breaking even on that one since, I don't think we have since COVID. And the reason why is the option to go to online education and charter programs online. And this year we have on the exchange, we have two. What my numbers on that? $250,000 is a negative when we looked at the loss of students that we had to transfer out. So, that's start to hit. So on the exchange, we got 40 in and 65 out. So we dropped 25, which is 250,000, something like that. That's the numbers, but 250,000 is the number. And since 2019, we were at 1230. We're now at 1050. So we've dropped 1.5 million since then in state revenue for enrollment. 1.5 to 1.8.
And that's a statewide trend. I know I've seen articles about that across the board, if not the nation. I've not tracked them with
I
the
haven't
nation.
checked the nation, but I have seen that a lot before.
Yeah, that's what's happening, and well, I mean, it's a combination of things in other districts, with enrollment costs and also in budget planning and looking for the cliff. And so the combination of the two has hit some districts. we've been able to keep pace with the coming into the cliff because of the staffing reductions we've done over the past 3 years, and we'll have that same approach this year. Reduction, by attrition, and try to, and level out with enrollment that way. So that allows us to keep current service levels. Tricky. Little tricky, but we have also some thoughts about what we can do with the online programs, that we can provide for Creswell students too.
Is there an option where we would still retain funding? Do we have an online option? Or is there an online option?
There are different models out there, but when you're looking at what a charter online program provides as far as the quality of the instruction and preparing students for post-secondary education and moving on to college. You gotta really, your online program, what you're going to offer as an option has to be competitive with that quality of instruction. And so, there are options out there. We're exploring those. We're in a pilot. Amy can talk about that right now. We're piloting one program. Amy, well, Amy, go ahead and make a couple. No,
We are, yes, we are piloting. We're looking at working, well, we're trying out this pilot with a company called Greenways, and what they offer, it's a virtual learning platform with some variation, meaning we can have a full-time student, and currently we have a full-time student who is working entirely from home. We also have 2 high school students that are trying out a cosmetology elective. Seeing if that's a good fit, they do it from school, so there's a space provided in the library where they can access the computer, have an adult support if they need it, and do a career class. So you can have the option for our high school students of credit recovery, different electives that we do not offer, GED support, accelerated courses definitely would be an option there that we do not offer. And then, of course, for our students that just see, maybe they travel or they, for whatever reason, being in person in school is not the best fit. There are options where they can be a full-time student virtual, or they can dabble with sports or come here for electives or come here for core classes. And there's a lot of flexibility with it. So we're trying it out.
and so it's a high quality program as far as curriculum goes and delivery. And with that quality, there's a price and cost. And so they have a table that they use and, but everything's up for negotiation. But their starting point is 60-40. So, that's what we're looking at.
So is that different than the online options that were offered before? So it's all within one program instead of kind of like scattered through different schools, is that my understanding? Because I know before we had online offerings over there where you could do certain classes, but they weren't all necessarily through the same program.
That's a great question, because a big difference with Greenways, so Accelis is what we still have Accelis.
Oh, okay.
And it's more of just working through an online, entirely online. Greenways offers the full package. So there's a teacher that provides office hours if a student needs to access those. There's someone making calls if they're not logging in. So there's a little bit more accountability built into Greenways than there would be with Accelis. So we're running both right now, both programs, but they're different in the sense that Accelis is just a little bit more tech. And then Greenways has a little bit more of the accountability and human resource component layered into the online options.
Well, that's great. I mean, I would think that kids would probably have a little bit greater success if they have kind of
We're hoping.
the accountability and the support piece. Yeah, I'm curious to see how that works. That's.
Me too.
And on the, as far as on enrollment, when they're with us and they're in the Accelis, I mean, that's fine. We pay for Accelis up front though. And Accelis has a $100,000 cost to us. Whereas with Greenways, it's a 60-40 split, so we don't pay that upfront cost, they get it on a per student basis. So they get 60 of it, we get 40% on the students that are in the program.
And there it includes the personnel cost basically with it, so we're not having to pay like an administrator or somebody else to administer the program.
Well, and
I
well,
mean,
that's true.
obviously you were working on like an additional, like a teacher that is
Yeah,
like.
that's what we're trying to figure out is what's the workload here on site?
Yeah.
What does that look like? Because we are tracking attendance at each building.
Mhm.
So I'm tracking it here and then giving it to the office managers to then go in and, we're just seeing how this all feels right now.
Yeah.
But
students are utilizing the cells?
that's a good question. I know I don't know how many are currently, how many slots she has used this year, but I do know that she had 12 left for the summer program.
So is it worth, I mean, are we getting our return on investment with $100,000 with enrollment?
Well, to some level, we have to have something for credit recovery, and that's why we hung on to Accelis was for credit recovery. Because we would have really no other option to provide students an opportunity to catch up if they were credit deficient, other than the 5th year. And we want them to graduate on time, and so this is what we've been providing for them, for that reason. But we've been able to catch a few students over in the middle school that need that for whatever reason. But that's, you know, that's what the main purpose of it has been. But with the other one, that would be to provide them students who opt out of public schooling, in-person schooling to online schooling. We'd be able to offer them a schedule. A full school schedule. A lot of difference on supplementary schedule. And they could do a full schedule with Accelis, but it really isn't a true. Well, they have accreditation, but it isn't the same experience.
It's not the same.
It's not the same accountability,
Yeah, I
right?
would say it's a lot more investment on our end
Yes.
to help.
Yeah.
Did you want to speak more to the budget assumption, Chanel? Did I miss anything?
I was reviewing the doctor, you're going through it, it seemed like it was fine.
Do we have any idea, like for next year, like any projections for what our 25, 26 potential enrollment looks like? Do we think there's gonna be a decrease or do we even know yet?
If we follow the trend, it's going to be 20 to 40 a year.
When is kindergarten roundup? When is kindergarten roundup? Like, do we have an idea how big the kindergarten
They're
is?
running at 85. This year might be a little higher. I think it's at 95 this year. Isn't it? At 95, it's a little higher this year than it has been past 3 years, but we've been running about 80 to 85. And, you know, we like 100 at a grade level. So we've been kind of up short on that, 20 a year from kinder, and then you have the transfers out. And you can see how the trend, I mean, that's been the trend.
April 10. Yeah.
And the enrollment is on the principal's report. You can see the numbers on there. I'll show you what the kindergarten numbers are this year.
Anybody else have any questions for Mike on all that?
No, thank you for all the information.
Yeah, thank you. That was a lot of good information. All right, then moving on to facility user fee schedule.
I provided a copy of that for you. It's in real small print though on the spreadsheet, real small. Wanted to see how we arrived at the fees that we did. And if you look across the schedule, there are some areas that we were not charging a fee for, but we still have to maintain the facility and the custodial work to it. And so we brought some fees into those. There were some fees that we saw in other districts were lower and we looked at the average, and so we lowered our fees on some of the things there. And then across the bottom, those are our youth organization user group, or sports groups or groups. It doesn't necessarily have to be sports, it can be Cub Scouts and Girl Scouts or whatever it is, but if it's a youth organization, then they can look at this. And we'll go by that formula, which is at $5 per student at the count, so. They have 60 kids, that's $30, and, you know, all the money that is brought in through facilities. So here's the deal. When I arrived here, we didn't have a facilities maintenance account. And, you know, we had a field that went down on us, so we couldn't actually go out, we were on the last year that anybody could step on it, and that was a gift from the insurance to let us run it that year to figure out how we're going to put that field back on the middle school. And so that was $500,000 out of the general fund. We didn't have an account for that to cover that. And so then we had the budget afterwards and make ends meet in the budget to do that. What we're trying to do here is build a maintenance account and replacement account with these fees. So all these fees will go into this account to maintain the fields. When we are able to put these fields in with bond money, we're not able to maintain them with bond money. Once they're in, the maintenance is on the district. And the only way that we can have these for our kids is to keep them up to standard. And then also looking at 10 years, which is where they're 10 to 12 year life expectancy on them. What's gonna happen then? Maybe another bond comes down the road. Our schedule is that way for it, it's set that way to happen for it. If the community or the district wants to do that, the community will go for it. There's a $40 million bond that can be approached there without increasing property taxes. They would stay the level that they are now. It's a continuation option. But if that doesn't happen, then what? So we're trying to get $1 million set up in this account for replacement costs.
And it's for repairs as well, right? Like if we got like a hole in the field or anything like that, like has happened in the past, would it come out of this as well? Okay.
So maintenance and replacement, that's what this account's about. So we're trying to put $100,000 away out of our annual revenue into this account to have it there to take care of the fields.
Any questions from Mike on that?
Yes.
Okay,
When will, I don't know how the previous schedule was sent out or shared with whoever that created a very upset community. How is this information going to be sent out and visible to the community so that they don't feel like as taxpayers, they're already paying for it and they have to pay a fee on top of it. So I think that was part of the frustration in the beginning. So how is this fee so people understand where the explanation is going to be visible to the public? And is there a master calendar or something so that people can see like, this is how the fields are being used and this is there potentially is time for us to use it so that when they're putting their facility requests in, that they can at least have an idea of what's already in use so that they can try and formulate a plan.
so we have communicated to these folks who were concerned, and I understand that why they were. Which, you know, that wasn't something we wanted to have happen right at the moment, you know, we had it online. But each of the organizations, youth organizations that we have in Creswell have been contacted and they have been given this fee schedule for youth sports. And Joel is going to meet with all of those organizations, next month. Or in this.
Trying for next week.
Next week. And talk with them about it and talk them through this. And also to help them understand what our expectations are for using the district facilities. So that's what's happening now. Already happened, actually, the organizations are already contacted, have a copy of this. And so meeting is next, they'll all sign the agreements and then we'll continue on. Met with the Beirut organization today. And we had a discussion about these shortly, but it wasn't much. They understand it because they've seen it before. And we're going forward.
And you are who's managing the calendar, the facility use
The schedule.
schedule.
For outside entities, yes.
But
Is there like a
together,
Google Calendar or like something that kind of show, I don't know how it works, like that shows like times that people are being, I mean, like, you know, is it like a shared calendar that you can see Babe Ruth is on the high school field from 7 to 8, or that the high schoolers are on the field from 5 to 6? I mean, is there a calendar that like,
We have a Google Calendar that we're using currently, hoping to, enlist the help of a vendor that can help us next year with this to help it. We have a Google Calendar that reflects the outside use, and then we have a calendar that reflects the inside use. And inside of our own teams, our own events. And then those are visible internally to us, we can manage it. Sometimes the information on there can be, I mean, if we're gonna put it out to the public, we'd have to probably wanna edit some of that. Because you're gonna have names of coaches, you have names, personal name information.
not only that, like Babe Ruth has, they have a matrix of schedule for 18s that have
That would be very
60
difficult to.
practices a week and Saturdays, and listing all that, those times on that schedule is gonna be difficult, but
Wouldn't be
it
that.
could do the block time.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could put a block
time.
yeah, like a
first.
block time, I interpret it, and just blocked out, I'm just, you know.
But we've had conflicts with Babe Ruth coaches on their own field before too.
Between each other, there's just not enough field space in Creswell.
Well, it's just
Across the
not-
boards, there's not enough land for all of our kids.
Candace, did you have something?
I did, thank you. I just think I want to make sure that we all are on the same page. Mike, I appreciate the explanation, and I am completely supportive of the idea that we need to find a way to continue to fund this going forward. I just want to make sure we were all on the same page, that our goal when we approved this policy was to have nominal impact to our local groups, and to really find a way to, if we have people outside of the Creswell community, that's who we really expected to be charging, because they're taking up time that our local kids could be using the facilities. And to me, that's what I felt like we were all trying to move towards. And I don't know if anyone else felt differently. And if you did, I appreciate that. But is that still how we feel this policy reads, or do we need to review the policy and make adjustments? I read the amendment, or I mean the agreement, and I see where it outlines it, but does our policy still support what I think our ultimate goal was?
For us, on these user groups here, if they come from outside district, this is for Creswell district user groups, youth
Yeah.
groups. And, if they're outside, then they go to the outside user fees. So they would, what's there?
I just want to make sure that I think as a board, and if I'm speaking for anyone out of turn, please correct me. But I think as a board, our goal was to have a nominal impact on our local community members, and to ensure that we have ways for our kids to use our facilities, but to create a process that felt fair and felt like a way that we could process these things in our district and make things a little bit more visible. I think, at least for me, that was our ultimate goal.
And that was our goal.
I agree.
Okay. And so I think we're course correcting, and I appreciate that. And I think we probably need to, in my opinion, own a little bit that we needed to course correct, and that our ultimate goal maybe isn't how it felt like it got implemented, but that was the goal of what we were trying to do. And anyone else, please correct me if you feel like.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the $5
I think that,
per student.
Yeah, I think so, and I think that it just got like misrepresented somehow in the translation, because I don't think it was ever the intention that when Mike got people coming to him saying, gonna cost us thousands of dollars to practice, that was ever our intention. I think that it was just that there was misunderstandings about like the calculations and who was doing it and how it was being used. And like you said, Candace, it is more for like, if a Eugene team came,
right,
that's when the fee schedule changes to that larger amount. And that was always the intention. It just didn't get translated that way.
Well, it wasn't, the original document that went out didn't have this
Right.
appendix A.
Yes.
So that is why everybody was fired up over it.
There was no original document that got gone out, to be fair. The policy and facility use fees form is on our website. And people were treated, no invoicing ever went out.
I understand no invoicing ever went out. Hold on, let me find it, please.
Yeah.
I think that, like, part of the main concern too is just like, especially with how small our town is, like, we have community members that are putting together like teams that have our kids from Creswell, but maybe we have a sport that doesn't have enough, so we have to pull other kids. And they literally are our feeder team in high
Right,
school.
no.
And like, it does, I think, like, if they're feeling excluded, or if the fees that we're putting out, literally, they can't afford, they have to go somewhere else, they're feeling isolated, and that is definitely agreeing with Candace's original statement. That is not at all what the intention was. It was just to make sure that our Creswell kids and students had priority. And then those feeder teams could have, you know, some level of priority in that tier and all of that. That was my understanding. But if what we're putting out financially is something that literally makes it where they have to go somewhere else, I do think we might need to course correct. I think Candace might, right? Just re-talk about it and try to figure out, like, because we don't want them to have to drive to like Harrisburg or one of this, I don't know what the schools were that said free across everything, right? Like, so we wouldn't want to do that. And
I think the link that she sent me has been updated to whatever is now.
Sarah, while you're looking, can I share one other thing? If this is something we can look into, I would encourage us to make the facility use form maybe a little more accessible. So I, just like all of us, we had people call us and ask us about it, and I, for the life of me, could not find it for a good 15 minutes. I did find it today when I went and looked again. So I was like, okay, I know. But I do think if we can find a way to make that more accessible, that would be helpful to our community.
And this appendix A is now on, right? So yeah, the interpretation would be made better.
How much time does it take you to manage the schedule?
Quite a bit.
And how does, like, would you say that this schedule, and I mean, no disrespect to you at all on how you've done, but is the facility use scheduling and all of the facility and the IT and all of the things that you do for us, is there, like, is your plate too full? Should we, I mean, you have a very full plate. Should we find a way to have someone else manage it so that it's not so cumbersome?
Well, that's why I'm hoping to enlist the help of an online service that most districts use already, like Bethel, Eugene, and Springfield, where actually the process, if we were able to go towards it, would be that you fill out the facility use form and you'd actually instantly see what's available, and then, or you'd actually enter in and it'll say, hey, that's not available, and then it'll show you next available time. And so, the models we're looking at right now are what like Eugene and Springfield use and Bethel use, and, I'm not sure about where, a couple different vendors do that, but that would make life a lot easier for managing and scheduling, and people see it right away and see availability. And manage the, getting the insurance information and stuff. We still have very much hand in it. We still have, control of saying yes or no to an entity. Usually it's not automatically approved, if you have an outside entity who wants to use your facility or something. But, with a tool like that, that would make it a lot easier for, I think, everybody.
Yeah, when somebody submits a facility use request, what's the turnaround on it?
Well, it can vary because, sometimes I get a facility use request that's only 48 hours before the event. And they want a very quick turnaround, and I can't give them a quick turnaround in 48 hours. So it can take up to a week to get a response back sometimes, because I have to also confirm that the space is available and that there's no. And then I have, if they're looking at, like, say they want 5:30 start time, but there's an event that ends at 6. Sometimes if I happen to know about that event that was before them, I can reach out to them. I mean, these are things that happen in the background. I'll reach out and say, are you willing to give up 30 minutes of your time so this group could come in? And they'll be like, oh, sure, we can do that. You know, so, and then, so that will both compromise from both entities. Or we look at it and say, we don't have a big enough gym for that, but can they share the gym? So then you have to call the coaches to confirm they can share the gym. So there's a lot of legwork involved.
Is there, like tonight we had a discussion about, some of the rules that we have about when you have to have something done in order to come to the board. Is there a rule that you have about how many days, hours, whatever you have to have it filled out in advance to use
2
it?
weeks is
Okay.
our request.
Okay,
We work at that.
okay,
That's our request.
all right. just so that they know that the expectation is that it has to be done 2 weeks before they want to do it, and that's, I mean.
And I'll
And
work
there's some
with,
guidelines around it. I mean, I just think that probably, I think from everybody's perspective, is just letting up the community know what the expectation is, and that we haven't had it before, and it's just something going forward with these new facilities, that we need to make sure that we are taking care of them and making sure that we are managing them well, and, think that it's gonna be a process. And we're gonna have some bumps on the road occasionally, and this is one of them.
I think, well, one of the, the thing that consumes the most time is actually getting on the schedule.
Right.
Or getting the schedule and keeping that matrix going when a new user comes in or a new schedule comes in. So when we do find that fit for the software, whichever one it is we're gonna use, then that's gonna help a lot on transparency for one,
Mhm.
but also on taking a lot of the coordinating of the days and the hours or the uses of the facilities.
Yeah.
It'll just be really clear to see what's there and what's not.
and to be clear, appendix A is not on our website quite yet, because we still have information coming in. We sent it out to the groups to review, and we wanted to get their input, so there's not a final copy yet to put out there. But as it turns out, a couple of the groups have already signed. They're happy with the way it is right now.
Yeah. Great. Okay, all right, let's move on. All right, the next item is discussion, regarding the budget hearing. I know last year we had some discussion around it, we're gonna do it in person, or we're gonna do it in Zoom, and we didn't. We had to like do all this changing, because we didn't make our decision early enough. And, I think that, our budget committee members outside of us would prefer a Zoom meeting. So if that is okay with everybody, is that what we were discussing in leadership? Especially since we have people that are in Fresno, no, I'm just kidding. And I know that Juan has been traveling a lot, and so there's some other committee members that would prefer to be in the Zoom format, if that is okay with everybody else. Does that work?
I think if that helps our budget committee members.
Yeah, I want them to get, yeah, we're gonna need a budget committee update is
Yes.
next. Do we have it? When is our budget? Do we have anybody, Marilyn, that's filled out a budget?
No, and the two folks, with all the vacant positions have contacted me and said they will not.
So how many vacant positions do we have right now?
Two.
Two, okay, we need 2 more people.
I'm working on someone. I think I have someone who's gonna submit their letter very soon.
Okay.
Very good, very good, all right.
I've been trying.
Thanks, Candace, I appreciate your labor on that one.
What's the age requirement? I think we have an audience member.
That is the budget committee meeting.
When is that?
May 21st,
Is it May 21st?
yeah, week after our board meeting.
Yeah, it is generally the Wednesday after,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, so May 21st is that day. All right, so that's that. Any questions? I mean, if you guys reach out to your people, get one more budget committee. Last discussion item is CMS promotion and CHS graduation.
So we're looking to see which one you want to attend. Crest Lane is going to be on the 11th, which is at 7:00 PM, which is the night we have a board meeting on Wednesday night.
We did that last year, right? Didn't we move it up an hour? We've done it a couple times.
We can move it up an hour.
I think that would be my preference, is to make that short. Hey, I try to run through these things some days. I'm like. No, yeah, you did something before we get here, keeping jokes. So yeah, if we wanna do that for that June meeting, move it to 5, what time did it go? 5, we wanna move it up to 5 o'clock. Does that work for everybody? That June 11th meeting?
And then on the 10th, is the CMS at 6:00.
June 10. Okay.
And then we have the graduation night on a Friday.
Get back to the
Which
1
grad
week.
night? Grad night, is it the week before, the Friday before, I think?
What time did you say the most?
Yeah, I think it is the 6th.
Middle school's at 6.
I think graduation is on the 6th.
6.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, it's 7. On the 6th, that's 7.
And is the middle school.
And the high school graduation is
The one at
going
CMS.
to the traditional ceremony.
Did you say the high school graduation's on the 6th? or 7th?
Last year, thank you.
High school is 6, 7 p.m.
Okay,
And what
I
time
don't
is
have
it?
it.
CMS, was at 6 o'clock.
The 11th.
Elementary school's at 7. Okay, if we keep it to a short meeting, can we move our board meeting like 5:30, like getting off work?
Oh, yeah, you
being
can do it
here
tomorrow,
by-
that's fine with me, I can talk fast.
Okay.
She can. All right, so board meeting at 5:30 on the 11th. That's the consensus of the people that are here. We're going with it. Okay, or, Marilyn, did you get that? 5:30. All right, a lot of discussion.
I might have to Zoom in the one in June. I have a nephew that graduates on one day in California and one that graduates on Saturday in Plano.
That's okay. I won't be here next time. I can zoom in from that.
Don't do it, it makes for a really long day. Did you want to know who we were, if,
Oh, yeah, did you want
Right.
to, okay, sorry, I was trying to talk fast.
Okay,
She's trying to move.
well, we could do it next month.
No, it's
We
fine.
can sort
No,
it out next month Because Mike and Tim are.
We can do that and we can consult our calendars and come back next month and make sure that we can do that. All right, let's do that.
And so,
I won't be here next.
Marilyn, would you be able to call Tim and Mike and let them know the dates and ask them which,
Yeah.
if they're gonna attend one of those or?
I know Mike told me he wants to attend them all,
Right.
so that's a given, but I'll.
Sorry, Marilyn. Can you guys remind me on a 5th grade promotion? We're just spectators, right? We're not participating.
Correct.
We don't do
Okay.
anything with that.
And then middle school, we're on the stage,
Mhm.
potentially handing stuff out, but maybe not.
We did last year, we handed.
Did
this
last year.
out.
Okay. And high school, I'm just gonna say TBD. We'll figure out.
No, it's gonna go back to the traditional format, Mike just said.
Oh, okay. Thank you guys.
Yeah,
I loved it when the students got to invite their advisors up.
yeah. I'll just commit to all 3, because I won't be here next, So then you don't have to like chase me down, because I know you do have to chase me down. So, if you know, you can tell her, so then she doesn't have to chase you down. All right. Now we can go on. Okay, we're gonna go to trustee reports. Candace, you wanna go first? Trustee report? She's like, what did you-
Sorry, I'm trying to open up the agenda and find my mute all at the same time. Yeah, I'd be happy to. So, trustee report for this month is I've participated in a leadership meeting. Obviously, like all of us, the superintendent eval. I am working diligently on finding budget committee members. I think I might have at least 2 that are gonna apply. We'll
We
see.
need 2, we only need 2, so get
Yeah.
more, just.
They might just be telling me, so we'll see, but I'm trying really hard. And then obviously spring sports has started, so I missed softball practice this week, and if Elise is there, I apologize, but I have been participating in practice.
Very good, thank you. There.
Well, since I missed last board meeting, we met with Amy, which was super cool, learn about the sped program. I participated in the FBLA regionals. I made it to the state playoff in Coos Bay. And we did Mike's evaluation.
I don't feel like I've been doing anything but driving. I did a lot of wrestling. I don't know. Wrestling, and I helped, Jennifer Mitchell organize the send-off for the wrestling team, and that was a lot of fun. Wrestling and started track. It's great. I got the letter that we approved in the February meeting, our advocacy letter sent off to our 2 senators and our 2 representatives, and Senator Krasinski emailed back indicating he would be talking with the Joint Ways and Means
committee to make sure that they understood where he was wanting to support. So that was good. That was the only feedback that we had heard back from those. So that went, we had a CTE design committee meeting, where Mike continues to share good news about how much he's able to leverage with grants and other funding, and that we are getting close to having the design of the CTE building, at least the outside finalized with the insides, and we looked at a couple design options. So if you want to see those, he's got those. And then I continue to volunteer with IRC on Friday mornings, and I noted that 3 of our 4 groups, the last time I was reading with them, kindergartners are reading full sentences. So I love it when we get to this part where,
Yeah.
like, I'm not helping with the harder words, they can read the whole thing. So I know those kindergartners are doing great. Our teachers are doing awesome. That's what that means.
Were we gonna invite, a representative to the board meeting or?
From IRC,
No,
no.
a legislator. Am I crazy?
Well, I think with them being in session, I don't think they're going to be traveling much. It was more trying to get up there or send information up.
So, in your email, I sent you, I forwarded the board, a schedule of the Ways and Means Committee, the legislatures that are going out. And if you want to sign up to give testimony at those, with those Ways and Means Committee representatives, you can sign up to be with them.
Okay, I was gonna say, I've been tracking, but you just sent it today. Okay, great.
So.
Yeah.
Could you hear that? I know I speak low and monotone, but you got it? Okay,
You're coming in loud and clear. You're all good.
perfect, okay.
Right. And I did the evaluation. I did watch Chantel. Carl and I were at dinner, we were on our phone, watching Chantel, we watched Low Show, we watched a bunch of other people that we know that wrestle, so we had a great time. We probably looked ridiculous in the restaurant watching people on our phone wrestle, but we were having a good time. And then evaluation, leadership. So, next thing is just a reminder, we're meeting April 9th. I will not be here for that. That's it. So we go to the order. We're gonna do our